Hi there. So in this video, I want to do something which I've been thinking about for a bit, which is what kind of beauty trends I kind of just accepted without question, and what it would be like if I accentuated my features which I am a little bit insecure about or have been not told, but have been encouraged based on media, on beauty influencers to alter and to look different. Okay, so yeah, let's just do it. I will try to talk about like what I believe is the reasoning behind certain beauty trends, and yeah, let's just go from there. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is do my brows. So I've plucked my brows for a while now. I can't remember when I first plucked them, probably when I was like in my teens, probably 15, 14. And I've been plucking them ever since to kind of give it a shape. I think I also used to like shave my brows with like an eyebrow shaver. It's like the really small shaver. So today I'm going to try to recreate the brows that I was born with in the sense of shape. So I know that I would have some hairs like right up to here, and I will try to kind of recreate that brow shape. And I think, yeah, another thing I will try to do is maybe accentuate my lashes in a downward manner, because that is just naturally how my lashes go, and I've always tried to curl them up, but this time I'm just going to make them like long and downward, which they are. Okay, so so I don't know, like I'm gonna try to think of reasons why certain trends have prevailed over time and some things have gone in and out of fashion. Yeah, so for the brows, I have no idea. I don't know why certain brow shapes are considered more desirable than others. And I suppose it also differs in like certain communities. For example, at the moment in the South Korean beauty industry, they're very much into the straight brow. And in the 90s it was the thin brow, now it's bushy brows. There was a period of time where there was wavy brows. I think there's a growing number of people trying to embrace their monobrow. So kind of just drawing over my general like shape where it probably would like go if it was like growing out. Okay, I think that's just kind of like the general shape. I'm going to breeze through with my spoolie to kind of even out the patchiness where I like drew darker areas. So I believe that this would, like, if I just left my brows untouched, kind of be the general like placement of hairs. Obviously it wouldn't be this saturated. I am missing some like areas here, like it's just there's no hair growing there. Then my lashes go downwards, and I'm not even sure if I can think of a reason why curly lashes are kind of more desirable, besides making your eyes look a little bit bigger. But I mean, I don't know. Does it make you look more awake? Is that why it's supposed to be more flattering? Yeah, like I've been thinking, like, you know, is there ever going to be a time where like straight downward lashes are in, and like people with curly lashes would be trying to straighten their lashes in order to get that effect. Yeah, so I don't think I've ever seen that. And thinking of the whole like alteration of like features and like plastic surgery and that, I mean, I've had braces, right? And we don't really think about it, but it is an extreme measure to kind of I think it's primarily a cosmetic thing. It's primarily like an appearance based form of surgery, if you think about it. They give the reason of, you know, making kind of minimalizing issues you might have with your dental health and all that kind of stuff. But I think for the majority of people who do go through braces and things like that, and I know I was one of them, like, I don't think not having braces would have made my teeth degenerate or deteriorate like more so than like if than my present state, which is I have had braces. So I don't know if that would have actually on the course of my life really affected my dental health as much as dentistry would have us believe. So like, I guess when it comes to braces, no one really questions it, but when it comes to things like plastic surgery in terms of altering even your nose shape, or like putting fillers in your mouth and your lips, or Botox or something like that. I mean, it's definitely different, but it's looked at as more of a unnecessary step. Okay, next up, I think I will kind of accentuate my darker circles. And yeah, I mean, this is not entirely the same, but I do think that there are some like Asian or like Chinese or like, I don't know, beauty trends where they try to like emphasize the bag to make you look more like puffy and like youthful in a sense. But what I'm doing is not accentuating a bag. I'm just kind of like darkening my under eye circles, which are already present, right? And I assume the reason why people like to cover up their eye bags is because it makes them look tired, and being tired is not considered attractive. You want to look fresh and awake. Although heroin chic was like a thing back in the 90s. You get like and I think I'm going to accentuate the roundness of my nose because that has bothered me for a while. Because like growing up, my mom always said that I had like a large nose, like a more bulbous kind of nose, and for some reason growing up I always had the impression like the sharp European kind of nose was more like aesthetically pleasing and desirable. Also the Indian nose, where it's like very sharp and defined, and like there's a high bridge instead of like a flatter kind of appearance. And why that is, I don't know. Like, I don't know if there's any studies done where babies look at flatter nose versus like sharper noses and like gravitate more towards the sharper nose or something. I know they said like babies gravitate more towards symmetrical faces, and that's kind of like the most unbiased they could get in terms of what people find attractive, taking away like the cultural and societal kind of values that have been put in place on people, because babies don't actually have such a bias. I don't know. So I'm just gonna accentuate how like bulbous my nose is. I don't know. Am I doing this right? I'm not entirely sure if I'm doing this right. So one of the things that I was going to mention is symmetry, having like symmetrical features as being kind of like a basic and kind of universal desire or understanding of what is attractive. Symmetrical people usually are considered more attractive. I don't know. I mean, obviously there are attractive people with some asymmetrical features, but like the general consensus is generally if you are more symmetrical, most people find you more attractive than someone that's not as symmetrical. But it's the imperfections that really make you stand out instead of just being like very generically symmetrical. Something like that. I can't remember. Okay, so there it is. Also, I don't know what else I can accentuate. Oh yeah, one thing I don't like about myself are these little, if you can see, this is not actually dirt or anything. This is just part of my mouth. It's just part of my skin. I just naturally have these darker marks around my lips, and I've never liked them because I think it makes me look like I've been eating stuff and I haven't cleaned my mouth properly, and that's why I always conceal it. But it's there, so I will accentuate it. And maybe I'll accentuate some of my lip hair, my mustache hair, because for women it's not as attractive facial hair in this region because it makes you look more masculine and etc. Yeah, I mean, that one I can pretty much understand like where that comes from. Like being hyper feminine is kind of like something that is more commonly accepted as attractive in females, as opposed to being quite androgynous. I don't know if I'm talking out of my ass. Okay, so another thing I don't really like about my lips is the gradient between the color difference between my top lip and my bottom lip. So if you look at my lips, I feel like this area here is a lot more kind of dull and brown, and this area is a bit more like flushed and like more. Is it peachy? Is it peachy, or is it like reddish and pink? So I'm going to accentuate that. And interestingly enough, Martin said like he likes this gradient thing about me, and I never liked it. I wanted my lips to always be like one even coat, and that's also why when I wear gloss, it kind of never doesn't really mask it, because gloss is typically a little bit more transparent, translucent, and oh, okay. So yeah, I'm going to accentuate the difference in tone. I may be using a couple of lipsticks. And another thing I noticed in terms of trends, when I was growing up, my large lips was a point of contention with me. Not so much that society didn't like my lips, it was just, I don't know, maybe it was just my mom that was saying, oh, you have very large lips. And yeah, I was just always more conscious of them. But in today's day and age, like the large lips are more desirable, and just a lot more attainable now because fillers and everything are more cheaper to get, and there's just more of a demand in terms of like social media marketing, where people are showing a specific body type and a specific like facial feature that is desirable. I'm rambling on, trying to be all PC, but anyway. So I don't know if there's really anything else that I can pinpoint about myself that I'm insecure with and like try to cover up, besides the blemishes on my face, which I just think is kind of like a sign of like health, perhaps. That's why people want even skin tones, etc. Although there was a time, I remember there was a runway where the designer deliberately asked the makeup artist to apply what looked like acne on the skin of the models. And that was to give it a more youthful appearance, because teenagers are bursting with hormones and acne is rampant on their face, typically. That was weird, but it didn't catch on. So, I don't know. But it seems like this bizarre thing was happening where the underlying reason is still this desire for youth and the pursuit of youth. There's rarely a trend where it goes into trying to make yourself look older, except for maybe the gray hair thing. but I don't know like to what extent anything else, like either creating wrinkles or creating age spots is desirable. For some reason, aging and old age is just not considered something to aspire to. And is that because we fear death, mortality, and all that? I don't know. All sorts of philosophical questions which I can't answer. But yeah, so that is the finished accentuating my insecurities in my own face. I've done my brows. I've accentuated my downward facing lashes. I have large pores on my nose, but I don't know how I would accentuate that. I've accentuated the roundness of my nose at the base and my two-tone lips, which actually this looks a little bit more red than I wanted, but oh well. And I tried to give myself some shading around the lip area and my darker circles. So that was a fun little experimentation. It's not like I find myself more attractive this way. I just thought it would be kind of cool to do this and talk about makeup standards and what I find makes me insecure and where I think that comes from. But yeah, actually I'm not really hating the brows that much. They're a bit messy, but yeah, I think if I didn't pluck my brows, this would kind of be the appearance. And it's not too bad. It actually isn't too bad. I know a lot of friends that just don't bother with makeup. They're just like, nah, it's not for me. And I don't think they pluck their brows either. And this is just kind of like how they look, and they look fine. So, yeah, that's all I have to say. And maybe, like, I would be curious to see what you think. What insecurities you have that you've always tried to mask or camouflage, and why you think that insecurity or that standard exists. So I'd be interested to hear what you have to say, if you have anything to say. If you have anything to say, yeah. So that's it for me, and ciao for now.